But let me first of all start and get your views on what we're seeing in the market today.
Yes.
Will you be buying on this dip, or are you one of those that's waiting on the sidelines? Because we see turnover continues to drop day to day.
Yeah, thanks, Wole. For me, what I see is last week we saw the market breach its 6-month low. Now, that is not a good sign. It breached and it's headed southwards. Yes, there was some sort of, would you say, dead cat bounce on Thursday and Friday. But again, today we've seen the market lose some ground again. So I think it's pretty uncertain. It would be unwise to go and buy at this level. We would like to see some stability. Even if we look at it, it is a very good point to go into the market. But then you don't want to go in with the risk of having further downside.
Yeah, but you talk about stability, but at the end of the day, if people don't buy, the market won't be stable, will it?
Yeah, market won't be stable. But of course, if you look at the market in general, the factors really weighing down on people, on lots of investors at this moment, I usually categorize them into 3. I'm looking at the recent developments in the NSE. The DG was ousted. Lots of restructuring going within the NSE.
So the outcome of that is an unknown right now.
The outcome of that, yeah, there is some direction it's giving. What we are looking at, which is a positive for me, is they're trying to restructure the exchange to run it more professionally, and I think that is a good part. But I think as we see developments go on, I think it would more or less allay investor fears. Another thing I'm looking at, which is really causing the market to dip, is uncertainty as to AMCON, the setup of AMCON. Right. It's not really clear where AMCON is going to, so I think on that front, investors really want to wait and see what kind of structures we put on ground to ensure a smooth takeoff of AMCON. And of course, on the broader factor we're looking at here, the forthcoming elections. We just gathered in the news today that governors of the Southwest have pledged their backing for Goodluck Jonathan. However, he has not come out to say he's going to run. We expect that news after the Ramadan period. But from my side, I think he will run. Okay. I think he will run.
Anyway, let's see what happens with that. But let's move be more specific now and look at Benue Cement. Like I mentioned, the first half results were announced, and PAT and top line revenues were down. And I was comparing the expectations of analysts like yourself and Stanbic IBTC for the full year. So obviously at this run rate, obviously they are not going to meet those expectations. So maybe I should start by asking you, what's the story behind this performance? It seems to be below expectation.
Yes, the results were announced on the floor of the exchange on Friday. We've not had opportunity to speak with the company as at today. I guess in during subsequent week of the days of the week, we would have some discussion with them and really find out what went wrong. For my numbers, I don't think they will be far off for my numbers. If you compare them last year they had a weaker second half. In fact, as a half year, they had made 9 billion. For the full year, they only made a profit after tax of about 14 billion. So when you look at it, an extra 5 billion within the 2 quarters, which is just about what they make in a quarter. So I think if we have a more stable second half this year, my projections would be intact.
But will you buy at this level? Because I know you were projecting, you had a fair value of about 65 naira.
69 naira.
Sorry, 69 naira, and
yes.
It's at 63.50 now.
Yes.
So you're maintaining a hold, or are you buying?
I would maintain a hold on and watch as development goes. But of course, the upsides for BCC are staring at us in the face. But again, we still need to look at it overall, how things will pan out.
I think in the short term, obviously, I think weak numbers would not excite any investors. But let's look at the broader picture of that cement sector. We were just discussing recently about some new government policies. Tell us a bit about that and how you think that will support the sector as a whole.
Yeah, news filtering into the market is that the government has hiked the duty on imported cement
right.
to 35%. Clearly, what that means is that the government is clearly in support of local production, of boosting local capacity. Obviously, that is why this kind of policy has taken place. A few weeks ago, there was also the debate as to what companies should be allowed to import cement. Some industry practitioners were of the opinion that only companies that have established plants in the country can import. But of course, the government, in a gesture to more or less open up the market, still gave out licenses to other importers that do not have plants on ground. But for us, what we think, we released a cement report in May, and from that report, we've looked at what's going on in the industry. We've sort of trying to match demand and supply, and based on our analysis, by the year 2012, when some new capacities come on stream, when WAPCO's 2.2 million metric tons come on stream, and of course the other developments from Dangote as well. We're expecting close to another 6 million metric tons from Dangote, and if the consumption continues to grow the rate at which it's been growing in the last, say, 3-4 years, about 10%, sometime around late 2012, early 2013, we would see local production surpass demand.